Hey, Bokeem, I'm Mike Manal from the Nerds of Color. How are you?
Hey man, how you doing?
Good, thank you. It is an honor to talk to you again. I got a chance to talk to you at season one, and Saurin was my favorite character of last season. Just the
Awesome.
swagger about him, the way that you always played him. So to get to see him again and to see his character grow and evolve even more in season two, oh, I'm so excited for this. I gotta say.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Of course, of course. I gotta ask, I mean, like, how do you feel Soren has evolved since the events of season one to where he is today? Because in that first episode, stuff happens and it's not really the best situation for the poor guy. I mean, what do you think?
I think it's interesting because he's definitely accomplished so much, not just from season one, but over the course of his, pirating career. He's done a lot, and then he makes a really big score at the end of episode seven, and then we find him in episode one in a place where he could kind of just stay the course and, ease into retirement next 20 years or whatever. But he's haunted by this ghost. And the ghost is Catherine Halsey.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the intergalactic war that's on the outer colonies is starting to slowly weigh on his mind. On the surface, he's not worried about it. He's like, oh, that's in the outer colonies. But he has a sense that it could be bigger than that, and that it might just be a matter of time before he's embroiled in it. So he's dealing with a lot of serious stuff, and at the same time, he's relishing the notion of enjoying the fruits of his labors. He's a man who's worked very hard for a long time, and he deserves, in his mind, he deserves to enjoy it. And he kind of wants to go out with a bang by being the person to bring Catherine Halsey to justice.
Absolutely. And the peace of mind that he could potentially receive after, doing so for somebody that has really defined a lot of the trauma that haunts him today, I mean that would be a monumental step forward for that character. I really can't wait to see that. One of the things that I loved about last season was the dynamic that you had with Yaren. She was just a wonderful actress, great debut character. And this season, it seems like you guys are kind of separated, in a Empire Strikes Back kind of way. What was that like for you? Did you miss working with her a lot more, than you did the first season? At least just based on the first two episodes. What did you think of that?
But yeah, it's kind of a drag because see each other on set. It's like, hi. You know what I mean? Like you said, she's a wonderful actress, a blast to work with, a great human being. So I would have liked more opportunity to work with her. Um, at the same time, it suits the story for season two, so that if and when you do see us together, it's potentially a pretty cool thing.
I think it's definitely going to be payoff. There's so much that's set up in these first two episodes that I'm dying to see how it all pays off and fits together at the end. Bokeem, thank you again for another wonderful year and another wonderful performance of Soren. Can't wait for audiences to see this and to check out Halo once it debuts on Paramount Plus. Season two, baby.
Thanks again, man. Appreciate
Joseph and Mike Manal from the Nerds of Color. How are you?
I'm well, Mike. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me. Very exciting because, I've been a fan of this show since last season, and here you are joining the cast, but not just joining in any, regular capacity. You're playing a pretty legendary Halo character, James Ackerson. I wanted to know what was it like to kind of just dive into the mythology and the world of Halo. And were you a fan before that? Like, does it feel crazy kind of being part of this world?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I played the games. I remember when Halo came out, and I played it as a teenager. I remember playing through in co-op the campaign with my mate on the sofa, and playing through Halo 2 and Halo 3 and Halo 4. And You know, yeah, I was very aware of the world and the franchise and the whole thing, and it was huge for me being a part of that world. It was amazing.
Did it alter your experience with the games really in the world? Did that alter the way that you were planning on portraying Ackerson?
Well, you know, Ackerson isn't really featured in the games.
Hmm.
He's in the novels, or the graphic novels, which I delved into in preparation for the role. Certainly, I suppose I was aware of the weight of responsibility that being a part of something with such a huge fan base carries. Um, you know, although I come from a world of vampire shows, and I challenge you to find a more passionate fan base than that. So I had a little experience in that way, but yeah, you know, some of it definitely informed my portrayal. Also, a lot of it was there in the scripts. The writing is of such high quality this season that I was that informed my portrayal as well, definitely.
Wonderful. When you approach a character like Ackerson, I mean, certainly amoral at best, I think, potentially. Uh, how what they say that the villain is the hero in his own mind. When you approach this character, are you trying to sort of think about how he's approaching sort of the things that he's doing and his motivations behind this to try and get to, the real psychology behind whether or not he thinks he's being justified in the actions that he's doing and the cloning programs and all of these different things that he's kind of performing. Is that kind of how you got into this character, and is that your approach to him?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't think he is a villain.
Mm.
But maybe I'm just adhering to the stereotype you just described. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to understand where your character's coming from, even if you don't agree with it. You have to, because how can you play his motivations? Otherwise, you're going to play something very two-dimensional and go, well, he's just bad or he's just good, which nobody is just bad or just good. There's a whole spectrum and there's a whole reasoning behind why they are like that, including, you know, motivations and backstory and all of that stuff. So yeah, I had to understand why he was making the choices he was making. And I think watching the season, you're going to understand as well, because we really delve into his backstory, his family history, but also the pressure that he's under with his job, the extreme weight that's upon him to make these impossible decisions for what he believes is the greater good. He believes what he's doing is the only way that things can be done to ensure the survival of the species.
Brilliant dancer and brilliant performance, by the way.
Oh,
Having
thank
seen the
you.
first two episodes, thank you so much for your time, Joseph. I can't wait for fans to see you in action and see Ackerson come to life. Just brilliant. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh,
The activists, directors, comments and the lectures, fanboys, professional artists and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life.